Welcome to MemoryMixer Design Studio. Today we're going to be using photo shapes with background. I have started by adding a background. It's Designs by Krista. Just come here through paper. So Designs by Krista, the Polish paper pack. And this one that I've selected happens to be this polka dot paper right here. But now we're going to go ahead and add an additional background. And if you haven't done that, this is a really great tool. It is so helpful. And a great way to access the backgrounds to do other things with, and that's what we're going to do now. So I'm going to start by picking this brown floral paper and add as an additional background. If I click OK, then it'll replace the background that I have, and that's not what I'm looking for. So I'm just going to go add as an additional background, and you'll notice then that background will just drop onto the middle of my page. Now, if you notice over here, my background is selected, but my edit photo tool drawer has opened, allowing me to use any of the photo tools or effects with my background paper. So right now we're going to go ahead and do the photo shape. So I'm going to come here, and this time I'm going to click a picture frame. A lot of the same principles apply that is in the Using Shapes tutorial. So if you haven't seen that one, you might go back and look for that one as well. So we'll just say OK. And now it's going to change that, and it's made it like a picture frame, which is perfect because we're going to put a picture in it. But first we're going to do a few adjustments. I'll just come over here to my edit, and now I can change the thickness of my frame. That is really a handy tool to be able to change the thickness. I can also now resize it, and if I grab by the corners, it's just like any other element in MemoryMixer. If you grab by the corners, it'll maintain its proportion. If you grab from the sides or the top and bottom, it will skew it, which most generally is not a problem unless you have a pattern, and you may decide that skewed look is okay. We'll just go ahead and undo that because we are going to use a square frame. And also if I add a little drop shadow here, you can see it just adds a little more dimension to your page. So we're just going to go and grab another background because I want to do another effect with it. And we're going to grab the blue solid this time, and remember to add as an additional background. Okay, and I'm going to do the same thing with this one. I'm going to go ahead and do a photo shape. I'm going to make it the picture frame as well. And I'm going to position it on top of this one. But I'm going to come here and edit the thickness. So I just want it to be real thin. That looks good. So I'll do that. And now I'm just going to position it so it fits here. And now I can use my little nudge tools to kind of position it so it does center on the existing frame. Now I can go ahead and use it like that, or I can do another effect. We're going to come in back into the edit tool drawer. I'm going to make it a little bit thicker because this time I want it to be like a mat underneath that frame. So I'll do that, and now I'll use my layer button up here, and I'll send it back a layer. Okay, and you can see that other frame just tucking forward, but I'm going to make this frame just a little bit bigger, and then you can see that blue coming through a little bit more. This is very similar to a regular picture frame with a mat. Okay, let's go ahead and click onto the next page, and I've got a layout done here, and you can see how you might use it. If you haven't seen the tutorial about layering, you might want to watch that too. It's helpful. So you can see now I've got my picture tucked in behind with my mat and my frame. And then I just add another embellishment from the Polish kit from Designs by Krista to finish out the layout. And then I also added a little sign here that's tacked onto the tree. And to make this little sign, you would do very much the same thing we've just been doing. To make this little sign here, you're just going to go to your backgrounds, your paper. I'm just going to grab that same blue paper, add as an additional background. Let's see, there it is. And now I'll come to my photo shape, and I'm just going to go rounded corners, say OK. And now it's just made this a rounded square, but I can come into my crop window, and now I can take this and just drag it from that corner and make it whatever size I want. It won't skew the paper or anything. So that's what we just got here. Now if I want to resize it, I can also grab the corners. I can also change the roundness of the corners with my edit. So I can make it just barely round, or I can make it very rounded. So whatever look you're looking for, you can adjust it here. As you notice, there are other shapes. So we're going to click over to the next page and work on our next layout, showing you some more frames. So I've got a brown background. I'm going to actually be using this photo right over here. So I've got my photo box here ready to go, and now I'm just going to put some things around it before we get started. So I'm going to come up to my backgrounds again, come into my paper, and we're just going to stick with this same kit. I'm going to use this herringbone paper add as additional background. I almost added as a background. And this time to my photo shapes, and this time I'm going to do a triangle. And it makes quite a big triangle, but we're just going to make it small here. As you notice, when that yellow box goes in, if I let go, it would be absorbed into that photo box. So I'm just going to make sure the yellow is not there. And now I can grab my corner. So I'm really making little photo corners that will coordinate with your layouts. So I can just use my little zoom in tool here, and I can zoom in on that pattern so you can see the pattern. And then I also want to use some other papers for some piecing behind it. So I just go into my backgrounds again, paper. I'm going to add some of that same herringbone. So I just add as an additional background. And this time I'm not going to bother changing the shape. I'm just going to come in and crop it. And I just want to get a little slice right out of the middle here. And now that I've got it, got to be careful. It's usually whenever your cursor is over that box that it has the problem. So I'm just going to now resize it so it'll take up that space. And I'm going to add another one. And this time I'm just going to do the blue solid paper, add as additional background. And I'm going to crop it again and grab just a little slice. This one I want to be a little smaller than the last one. But this color, or this paper, is pretty easy to change the size without skewing it. So, and now we're just going to send it back so I can use my layering buttons here. We'll send this one back further. So it just created a nice little border behind. If I want to add a drop shadow to this back one, I can do that as well. Give a little dimension, as well as if I wanted to add it to my little photo corner I've made. Now, to repeat the photo corners, all I need to do, I've got one size the way I want and zoomed in, so I've got the pattern, I can see it. Now all I want to do is just copy and then paste it 3 more times. And then I will just drag the corner to the next place. Whoops, I missed the paste button there. So we'll go ahead and paste it since it's already been copied. And now I'll continue around the rest of the corners, but once I get it in a place here, then I just use my rotate, and I just do it a couple of times till it's in the right place, and then I can position it the way I want. So if you come over here to this page, you can see the completed layout with the photo in. So you can see it's really easy, and there's lots of creative things that you can do using shapes with your backgrounds.